Hey all, Hippo here. So we're back, and this time we're taking out an Agile Dmitry Donskoi. And it's Makarov, the commander, Rune, Baltimore inspirations, and all the usual perks here. So, go all in on turret rotation and rudder, and in the last slot put the improved reload. So you get 3 sonars, 3 radars, and 3 heals. And a 9-second reload, 10 seconds, whatever, same thing. And you do get torpedoes. You actually get 5 per side, which is pretty good. 8-kilometer range, that's not bad as well. And 2.3 rudder and 41 knots, which is actually one of the faster rudders at legendary tier. So definitely no slouch, but the turning radius is massive. So I remember back when this ship first came out, I actually took it out just as a joke with the final boss, the community manager, just to see how it actually did with an agile build, because it just seemed like such an absurd thing to do. Because look at the turning radius; it's almost a kilometer. But actually, it's actually not bad. I remember thinking that back. Like in the first instance where I tried this build here, and I was thinking, it's actually not bad at all. I mean, it does live up to most of the Agile Cruiser requirements here. It does have a very fast rudder. It can go really fast. It can go 41 knots, which is very fast for this big, huge ship here. It does have torpedoes. It does have radar. It does have sonar. It's got all the tools. And so really, it shouldn't be surprising that this is a good Agile Cruiser. Because it is. It really is. And as surprising as that is, it's surprising. What can I say? It's no Stalingrad, that's for sure. Stalingrad is not a good Agile Cruiser. Let's just put that out there immediately. But this thing here, it's actually quite good. It's actually up there with the better Agile Cruisers. And I'd say it's probably the best Agile Tier 8 Cruiser. Which is, a bit of a surprise even to me. It's not a particularly sturdy ship, though. That is its Achilles heel, I think. Because if you take incoming fire, it doesn't really matter who's shooting at you. You're going to take damage. The armor is not fantastic. I believe it's 25 or 26 millimeter most of the areas. And it's just a little bit inconsistent, really. Citadel is also big, so you don't want to show broadside in this thing here. It's as easy to Citadel as almost a Minotaur is. So obviously you gotta be a little careful there. But it's actually quite a decent brawler, as long as you don't show your broadside or you time your turns, so no battleship can get at your broadside. It actually works pretty well. And brawling is something that Agile Cruisers should be good at. And that's also why they need torpedoes. Because you need to be able to take on battleships by yourself. And in general, at least up close, you will need torpedoes for that. Torpedoes are also a deterrent, and that's actually what you use them for the most. Specifically when you're in a position like this, where you are, holding a cap, and say I had no battleships over here. If I was the only ship and I didn't have any torpedoes, it would be fairly simple to, one, push me out of the cap, and especially if you're a battleship, and 2, perhaps even sink me. But with torpedoes, I mean, people will have to think twice before engaging you up close, and that's really what you want the torpedoes for. So now we're gonna, take the ship out in open water, because we already taken the cap, and we got pretty good backup here, 2 battleships. So we feel confident taking the ship out in open water, and we have a Wichita here. But what I really want to do is to get close to the battleship. You see how he's parked behind an island here, thinking that he's safe, and no Donskoi is gonna come and get him. Well, this Donskoi here is different. And you can see how he's starting to think now, it doesn't look like that Donskoi is stopping. I could reverse and give up my very nice cozy spot here, or I could use my own torpedoes and take on the Donskoi. So I'm thinking that's what he's thinking, but again, how can I know that? I don't know that. So this is where Donskoi is so much fun, because no one expects this ship here to have an agile build, and no one expects it to take on a torpedo-armed battleship like this. You can see how the Iwami here, he is probably very surprised with this play here. And obviously he's in a pretty nasty position here, because He's still on his reload. The Wichita has fired, so I'm safe to get off my torps here. But at this angle here, I'm not gonna get him. I need to one-shot this guy here, so I want to be absolutely sure. So we do a wide spread from the other side, so we get the whole broadside here, and we actually miss, I believe, 2 torpedoes, but 3 is enough, and that's what we wanted. So yeah, you saw it here first. That was a Donskoi, taking on an Iwami in a brawl, and I'm not really sure that Iwami player knew he had torpedoes. I will let that be said, but in any case, Donskoi is actually quite good at that stuff, especially if you can surprise the other ships like I did. What it's not particularly good at is brawling destroyers and other cruisers up front, which, up close, I mean, which I'll also show you in a second, because we're going to go and say hello to that Wichita very soon. First, we're just going to see if we can push these guys here a little bit further away, because we have all caps. We are way ahead on points, and things are looking pretty good. Another thing that's different about Donskoi is that it has that 11.7 kilometer radar that the Russians have. Now, it does sound nice, right? And sure, it's nice, but you don't really get to use that range as often as you think, at least if you play the ship with an Agile build, because when you pop the radar with an Agile build, you are usually within 10 kilometers of a cap or whatever, where you think the destroyer is. And those extra 2 kilometers, I mean, they're not wasted, but the duration of the radar is also not the longest. So even when destroyers are trying to escape and they're still within your 11.7 kilometers, usually the radar runs out before they actually make it out of the radius. So it's a bit of a waste, and something along the lines of Minotaur is a much better compromise, like less range, but you have like the radar on for longer. And I'm not gonna complain. The ship has radar, which is awesome, and I think that's one of the main reasons it actually does well as an Agile cruiser, because yeah, torpedoes, radar, it's very fast, 41 knots, like I showed you before, which is surprisingly fast for this ship here. The turret rotation is also very fast. These are 180s though, so they're not like super punchy, but they do rotate in, I believe, around 14 seconds, which is also really fast. And you do have 4 turrets as well. So does it make sense to make this cruiser an Agile cruiser? And does it make sense to buy this cruiser to play it with an Agile build if you don't have it already? And in that case, the answer is no, it doesn't, because it's really expensive. It's a tier 8, and it's not, I mean, it's not that good. It's good, but, I mean, as tier 8s go, it's probably the best one out there. And here I'll show you the downside with the torpedoes. Because once you are brawling ships that are more agile, like for example this Wichita here, is he doesn't even have an Agile build, but he can easily outturn my torpedoes because they're so slow. They only go 55 knots, and to really make them viable, I think you should be able to single fire them. But of course you can't do that on Russian ships. Look how fast we're turning here, even though we have a 1,000 meter turning radius, give or take. So again, I'm just gonna, give it a shot. But anyone can avoid these torpedoes here up close when you're in a maneuverable ship, and especially a ship like Wichita, where it's fairly simple. So I'm just struggling to citadel him here, and there we finally get 3, and that's the end of him, because we needed this ship removed from this area on the map, so we can only only have to focus on the other half of the map. Now, if I may say so, I think we've done pretty well so far in Donskoi, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is quite a capable Agile cruiser. It's just the thing that it's really expensive to invest in this cruiser here when it comes to silver, and also, of course, adding on all the upgrades. It's also like another 15 million or something like that, and the ship is not worth that. And then the next issue is that to play it with an Agile build, you need to max out Makarov as well, and really there's no other use for Makarov as an Agile commander on the Russians, because this is really the only Russian ship that really works with an Agile build. The tier 5 works as well, but still it's not worth putting all those resources into a commander to be able to play 2 ships, and 2 ships that honestly play just as well with any other build really. But This video is about the fact that you can make these work with Agile builds, in particular Donskoi. It actually works really well. But is it worth the trouble? No, probably not. So now we're getting to the more disappointing part of the battle, because we've actually got this battle here clinched. But unfortunately, the red team actually has quite a good carrier player. And the blue team here, we seem to be lacking a little bit in carrier prowess, unfortunately. So for the rest of this battle here, which isn't that long, I'm just going to be absolutely pounded by this carrier here. And you know, there is not much you can do about that. If the carrier wants you dead, you are going to succumb sooner or later. You can wiggle as much as you like. I did that before and I avoided a salvo. But I mean, he's on to me now. He knows how fast my ship can actually move. So the first salvo, yeah, okay, we got ourselves out of that one. But from now on, yeah, it's not going to be me who ends up in you know, the victorious against this carrier here. That's simply not possible. Not in this ship here, not with this AA, and not without other ships I can snuggle up to. What I want to do here is turn around and head back towards my battleship, and you know, so we can use both of our AA against this carrier here, and he gets a clear sky as well, meaning that our carrier seems to be going for the enemy carrier, which is probably not the best, you know, course of action. And here I eat a torpedo I shouldn't have eaten, but I wasn't really paying attention there. I think I could have avoided them, but I didn't. I made a mistake. So I was hoping to spot the carrier here, but I don't want to go any further, because then I have to face the mines, and with 7,000 hit points left, there's simply nothing I can do against that mines. He's almost full health. And we're going to eat 3 torps there, and that's the end of the Agile Donskoi here. But I will say, I had a good fun in this battle here, and I played more after, and I still have fun in an Agile Donskoi. So in the interest of time, we're just going to skip the rest of the battle here. We do pull off the win by, you know, 700 points or something like that, so quite good. And Donskoi does get the first spot on the leaderboard, so I mean, it's a viable choice, and it's fun. It's really fun. It's a fun tier 8. Like, wow, that doesn't happen very often, does it? So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you out there.